2023 was an interesting year for Star Citizen. We had some rough times, but we also had a lot of good added to the game. And one of the best things CIG did in 2023 was seemingly a small initiative, but it came with a massive impact. Quality of life. Star Citizen has been playable in terms of the persistent universe, well, that we know today since 2017. Quality of life and playability was almost never a priority, but the dev team, along with the community team, grouped up to find some of our most painful issues with the game and tried to clean them up in the back half of the year. Now, my hope is that this trend continues in 2024 with each of the patches that we get. So I just want to list off some of the things that I think we need to have prioritized first, with a caveat: the things mentioned at CitizenCon that we know are going to be added to the game, like certain UI improvements, interactions, and the big one, the star map, are obviously things that need work, but we already know they're a priority. So ignoring those, these are my 10 quality of life updates we need in 2024, starting out in no particular order with voice over IP. Generally, I'm just looking for this to work. Sometimes it breaks for seemingly no reason. This is maybe a bit of a controversial one, but maybe we need an icon over players' heads when they are using VoIP. This is very common in other MMOs, but is also slightly immersion breaking. So let me know what you guys think about that one. Improvements to channel volume. Some are just unreasonably low. I think party volume for some reason is super low and you can't get it any higher, where people who are close to you in proximity sound perfectly normal and fine. A better, more accessible keybind for VoIP. We don't know if players don't have a mic, have a smaller keyboard like a 10 keyless, or voice over IP is simply broken. Maybe mute options for individual channels, not just individual people. Maybe I want to mute proximity, but I still want to hear my party. Whisper, normal, and yell options. I think this works fantastically in DayZ for group play to be fully immersed into the game, speaking with those you want to hear you, but to avoid broadcasting to those that you do not is pretty useful. And number 2 would be party improvements. Party markers working consistently is probably one of my highest ranking things in terms of needed quality of life improvements. They fall off for no reason, never appear. It's incredibly frustrating. They're doing an amazing job on syncing gameplay with party members this past year for selling cargo, access to ships, and more. I would love to see more of this in 2024. More on restricting things from players not in your party. And by restricting, I don't mean blocking 100%, but giving players like crimes for interacting with players' ships that they're not in the same party with, or you need to hack them in some way. Things like that, right? ASOP terminal improvements would be number 3. Size, type, cargo capabilities, and status would be wonderful to be able to sort and order ships on your list. Being able to hide ships not at the present location would be awesome as well. And next is something they tried in the past, but a delivery option for ships stored at other locations. Maybe they need to be empty, if not maybe a much larger fee, to avoid claim timers and costs that are likely to rise in the future, where they're sort of punishing in a situation just where, hey, I need my ship over here, but it's not like you should be making an insurance claim for that, right? Number 4 for me would be reputation. We heard them speak a bit on this in the past, but we heard nothing about it at CitizenCon. The game needs reputation to matter more. Earning rep to make a few more credits has become quite stale for me personally. I would love to have locations and gameplay open up and maybe even close for me based on my choices that my character makes in a location or a system that I'm currently playing in. I really want my choices to stick with me and carry that renown or bad reputation around. I think that would just improve the game experience so much. Number 5 is missiles. They have been a problem since Arena Commander 0.9, but something has to give here. They either have been in a state where they are pointless to use, or load up a Connie with a bunch of cross-section missiles and nobody can shake them. I just want to see CIG take a really good hard look on exactly how they want them to play out. Locking, firing, and the counters for them, and really just try to make something that will stick and that hopefully won't break with every single update. 6 would be FPS improvements. The time to kill changes they made in 3.22 have kind of felt amazing at times and sometimes downright awful. Reloading for me personally is the FPS experience that needs the most work. Getting locked into a reload animation immediately after running out of bullets is just bad. Being slowed like you were rooted by a boss in an MMO raid when you reload also feels terrible. So yeah, that's just somewhere where I would love to see some improvements, along with everything else that we know is coming. Number 7 would be travel at landing zones and stations. Having to take 2 to 3 elevators at a space station is incredibly tedious. I think the elevator from your hangar should be just more versatile, allowing you to head to the ASOP or the Galleria or the refinery/cargo decks if this is where you want to go. More options when requesting landing. Maybe requesting landing at the refinery or cargo deck instead of your standard hangar. And then landing zones need a very similar system. Something more direct from your first point of entrance to a major landing zone to a location that you wish to go just makes way more sense, right? We're going to see these beautiful locations that they make, but we don't have to traverse the entire thing every time. Number 8 for me is repair, refuel, and rearm actually working. This one's really simple. It seemed to be a bug in every single patch and needs to be near the very top of their list of things to fix in this game. On top of that, I would love to see us be able to repair from soft death as they intended us to do in 3.22, but it just didn't make it in time. Number 9 is a big one, inventory improvements. This is another location where the team did a really good job on improving and making things less problematic, but it still remains a huge pain point for players in Star Citizen. Stacking is my main issue. Every item should stack at this point. Maybe some in more limited stack sizes than others, but this certainly is in my top 3 for something that we really need. In the end, they were going with this Tarkov style you can only fit these many boxes in your bag, but then they also went with a weight option. Just pick one and stack everything. This is a result of them not knowing what they wanted to do, it seems like, and we're suffering for it. This would improve inventories for our character, our landing locations, our ships, everything. I wonder if it would even help with the database issues that we often struggle with. And the last one, number 10, would be just generally selling improving. Now, for me, it would be like the ability to sell all or a stack. Just give me something. Now, this may not be on your list, but think about it here. Gathering items in a video game world and selling them to an NPC, well, that's a basic right in a video game like this. It's crazy to not have that feature make sense. Just think about it. You can unlock so many more interesting avenues for gameplay, like proper fetch quests for all sorts of different items that can have more interesting and unique rewards for those quests and reputation tied to them. And yeah, just generally, the current selling system is basically unacceptable. It was never acceptable. It should never have been in the game in this state and just generally needs an improvement. But that will do it. So those are my 10 must fixes for 2024. Man, I edited and removed and re-edited and changed the list about 50 times. There are obviously a lot of things that need updates and fixes and changes in Star Citizen. So don't hesitate to give me your lists down in the comments below. This list of 10 isn't going to make Star Citizen an MMO to rival some of the best games out there, but it should help improve on the experience we already have. So keep that in mind when critiquing my list or making your own. This isn't a list of all the new features or tech we need to make Star Citizen happen, right? So with that, don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Star Citizen content from me. And also, I want to thank you guys for a wonderful 2023. This is my first video of 2024, and I hope there are more awesome Star Citizen updates this coming year. Everybody, you have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.